Your cat is sitting at the end of the hallway, just watching you. Not moving, not making a sound, eyes half closed, tail barely twitching. And 3 feet away from her, your dog is doing the same thing, but his eyes are wide open. His body is angled toward you, one ear is forward. He's ready to move the second you move. Same hallway, same person, 2 completely different operations happening inside 2 completely different brains. You probably thought they were both just waiting for you. They weren't. One of them was running a security audit on the environment, using you as the anchor point of a mental map she's been building for months. The other was using the sight of you to chemically calm his own nervous system down. You weren't just being watched, you were working. Because here's the thing that behavioral science has spent decades quietly uncovering. Your pets don't love you the way we used to think they did. They don't love you like a preference, or a habit, or even a bond. They love you like infrastructure. And once you understand what that actually means, the way your cat checks on you before she sleeps, the way your dog physically needs to see your face when something scares him, you will never look at either of them the same way again. Let's start with the cat, because what she's doing in that hallway is far stranger and far more sophisticated than it looks. Cats are territorial mappers. This isn't a metaphor. This is neurological fact. A cat's primary survival system is built around spatial knowledge, knowing exactly what belongs where, what has changed, what is safe, and what requires investigation. Every room in your home is a zone, every piece of furniture is a landmark, and every sound, smell, and shift in light is a data point being processed and filed. Your cat is not living in your house, she is governing it. And you, whether you realized it or not, are the most important fixed point in her entire map. Researchers at Oregon State University published a landmark study showing that domestic cats form what's called a secure base effect with their primary caregivers, the same attachment mechanism documented in human infants and their parents. When placed in an unfamiliar room, cats with securely attached owners explored more freely, showed fewer stress behaviors, and returned to their owner's location repeatedly, not for food, not for play, but for orientation. You are her GPS anchor. When she walks into a room and looks at you before she jumps onto the couch, that's not affection. Well, it is, but it's also a security checkpoint. She is confirming that the fixed point of her map is still where it should be, that the world is stable, that she can proceed. And it goes even deeper than that. Cats engage in something called behavioral mirroring, a subtle, largely unconscious process in which they calibrate their own physiological state to yours. Your breathing rate, your posture, the tension in your shoulders, the pace of your movements. If you come home agitated and move quickly through the house, she feels it. Not metaphorically, her nervous system responds to yours. Studies in feline stress response show that cats in homes with chronically stressed owners display measurably higher cortisol levels, altered grooming patterns, and increased vigilance behavior, even when the stressor has nothing to do with them. She is reading you like a weather system, because in the logic of her ancient brain, you are the weather. You are the most unpredictable large mammal in her carefully mapped territory, and so she has spent years learning to predict you, your moods, your rhythms, the sound of your specific footstep versus a stranger's, the difference between the way you sit when you're relaxed versus the way you sit when something is wrong. That slow blink she gives you across the room, that is not just sweetness. That is a cat lowering her threat detection systems in your presence. She is telling you in the oldest language she has, you are not a danger. You are a known quantity. You are safe. And when she curls up on your lap, she is not just warm and comfortable, she is at base. Your lap is the most secure coordinate in her entire territorial map, the place where environmental unpredictability, the core anxiety of every cat's existence, drops to its lowest possible level. She doesn't sit on your lap because she chose you out of affection alone. She sits there because her nervous system requires it.
Now, the dog. What's happening inside him is just as profound, but it runs on completely different wiring. Dogs are not territorial mappers. Dogs are social navigators. Where a cat builds safety through spatial knowledge, a dog builds safety through relational knowledge. And the most important relationship in a domestic dog's world, the one his entire nervous system organizes itself around, is you. This didn't happen by accident. Researchers studying the genetic profile of domestic dogs, particularly work referenced through the Clever Dog Lab in Vienna, have identified something that stops behavioral scientists cold every time they discuss it. Dogs carry genetic variants in the same chromosomal region linked to Williams-Beuren syndrome in humans, a condition associated with hypersociality, intense trust in strangers, and an almost compulsive drive towards social bonding. In humans, it's a medical condition. In dogs, it's the entire species. Dogs were not just trained to love us over 10,000 years of domestication. They were genetically restructured to need us. Their social bonding circuitry is not a behavior, it is architecture. And one of the most extraordinary expressions of that architecture is something called referential looking. Studies from the University of Milan demonstrated that when dogs encounter a problem they can't solve or a situation they don't understand, they do something almost no other animal does. They turn and look directly at a human face. Not the food, not the problem, your face, seeking information, seeking guidance, delegating the interpretation of the world to you. Your dog doesn't just love you, he outsources his reality to you, and his body reflects this in ways that are measurable, physiological, and remarkable. Research into cortisol synchronization, the biological stress hormone, shows that dogs and their long-term owners develop synchronized cortisol rhythms over time. When you are stressed, your dog's cortisol rises. When you are calm, his calms. They are not just responding to your behavior, they are chemically entrained to your internal state. This is why he follows you to the bathroom. This is why he positions himself where he can always see the door you left through. This is why the moment you pick up your keys, before you've said a single word, his entire body changes. He is not being clingy, he is maintaining visual access to his primary cortisol regulation system, which is you. When he puts his head on your knee and looks up at you, that gaze triggers an oxytocin release in both of you simultaneously. This has been documented. It is a real, measurable neurochemical event. You are not imagining the connection in that moment. You are in it, together, biologically. So here they both are, in the same hallway, watching the same person, and the difference between them is ancient. The cat evolved in solitude. Survival for her ancestors meant mastering space, knowing territory so completely that threat could be detected before it arrived. She brought that with her into your home, and she brought you into that system as the most important, most complex, most carefully studied element of it. She doesn't seek your face for information, she seeks your presence for orientation. The dog evolved in groups. Survival for his ancestors meant mastering relationships, reading social cues so accurately that cooperation became instinct. He brought that into your home too, and he built you into his social universe, as leader, as safe harbor, as the face he looks to when the world stops making sense. He doesn't map your territory, he maps you. Two species, two completely different evolutionary pressures, two completely different neurological strategies, and both of them arrived through completely separate roads at the same destination, you. Not because you feed them, not because you shelter them, but because over thousands of years of living alongside humans, both species discovered something that got written into their genes and their brains and their nervous systems. You are worth organizing a life around. There is a concept in behavioral biology called the biological cost of love. Every attachment, real attachment, the kind that changes your physiology, that synchronizes your hormones, that restructures your nervous system around another being, carries a cost: vulnerability, dependency, the risk of loss. Your cat paid that cost when she made you the anchor of her map. Your dog paid it when he handed you the interpretive keys to his entire world. They didn't do this carelessly. They did it because something in them, something old and precise and quietly extraordinary, determined that you were worth it. So the next time your cat checks on you before she settles in for the night, the next time your dog repositions himself just to keep you in his line of sight, remember, that's not just love, that's biology making a choice, and it chose you. If this changed the way you see your pet even a little, hit subscribe. We make videos like this every week. And tell us in the comments who follows you more in your house, your cat or your dog, because the answer might tell you more about them than you think.